This interview of our Today's Campus Innovation Interview Series is brought to you by Six Sigma Management Institute. Visit sixsigmamindpro.com to learn more about MindPro, the online Lean Six Sigma training system developed by the co-creator of Six Sigma, Dr. Michael J. Harry. So, hi everyone and welcome to a new interview in our Today's Campus Innovation Interview Series. My name is Kirsten Winkler. I'm the Innovation Editor of Today's Campus and I'm very happy to be joined by Ulrik Christensen. He is the co-founder and CEO of a very interesting startup, actually, I think, called Area9. So, welcome to the program, Ulrik.
Thank you.
All right. So, in a nutshell, with Area9, you provide personalized learning solutions on a global scale that are also affordable. I think the whole topic of adaptive learning or adaptiveness in general is, I think, in education present for maybe some years already, but definitely taking up speed. And you with your startup or with your company, you also saw a 20% investment of MacGraw-Hill just recently. So why would you think a personalized learning solution or adaptive learning is somewhat the holy grail in online education, if you want to name it like that?
I think the main opportunity is that if you're able to move education from a one-size-fits-all concept to being able to address the individual's needs, that's truly a breakthrough. Not a small one, but a big one. And it is something that all educators will agree that if you are able, the more you're able to fit the individual's needs, the better. So it's not like we're debating whether we like apples or oranges better. It's a question of the more we can do of this, it's a monotonous improvement the closer you can get to individualization. Then there are some downsides to it traditionally, which is it costs more, it puts more pressure on the teachers, that kind of stuff. But given that we with modern technology and the enormous computational power we have available now and new computer science breakthroughs, we may actually be able to solve problems we haven't been able to solve before.
How does somebody, you and one of your co-founders, you actually have a background in medicine, you are medical doctors. How does somebody come into the learning space or is fascinated about learning, personalized learning solutions? What was basically the motivation, or did you encounter a particular problem? Was there a particular moment you said, I want to build a startup in education?
Well, there was a very long moment when we realized that education was important. We actually several doctors or physicians employed in the company, and it's because we come from the other end of this. We come from a human factors background, and what's fascinating about a lot of the physicians that are interested in this is we're interested in why we make errors. Or we were interested. It's almost 20 years ago I started in this, back in '94. And we're interested in why we made errors under pressure. Why did we see all the medical errors out there? And when we started to peel the layers of that onion, we realized that it was actually fundamentally a learning problem. So initially we built simulators, then we built computer simulators, then we built part test simulators, and we ended up realizing that unless we were able to fundamentally change the way you learn this enormous body of knowledge you need to have, we wouldn't fix those ultimate problems of performance in real life under pressure.
Mm-hmm. So I was actually asking because with your 20-year experience in the field, what would you say is the state of really, truly adaptive solutions at the moment? Are we already there, or do you feel that today we have something that is already truly adaptive, or how long will it take, let's say, speaking about the future, to have something really, really personalized?
I think you could say, without a doubt, we have something that is many times more adaptive than it was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I also think that there is a level to where we are today where if you look at the kind of learning objectives we can accomplish with adaptive learning today, we still need to get back into the environment, back into having adaptive solutions for application of knowledge. That's not where most of the adaptive players are today. We're moving back in there fast after having worked in the other space for several years now. So I definitely think there is quite far to go in terms of three things. The first one is higher level learning objectives, application of knowledge into simulation and personalized debriefing, as we call it. That's one. So that's sophistication of knowledge and the very high level, very sophisticated learning objectives. Then there is the cost of adaptive learning, which is, it's not enough to just have adaptive learning in math and English. You need to have it in a massive number of courses and course areas to really see the impact on education in general. And the third one is that you need to see adaptive learning over multiple subjects. There is a lot of blue sky dreaming about, oh yeah, we'd like to do this in more than one course area. It's actually very, very hard to do. And there's a lot of both research and cultural change ahead of us before we start following the students through years and years of education. Mm-hmm. But obviously, if we can't follow them, the application of adaptive technologies can be even greater. So those would be the areas.
I think on your website I read something like your estimate is, at least for the higher education space in the United States, until mass adoption, you say something like roughly 3 to 5 years is realistic, right?
Yes. Well, we're getting closer to that. It's accelerating a lot. We had 1.2 million active students last semester, new active students last semester, and we quadrupled impact last semester. So it goes fast. Mm-hmm. I think what is interesting is that on the course of what most people count as adaptive learning, which is the preparation for the current kind of exams, we're on a very fast upwards trajectory right now. What I think are the next big breakthroughs are the ones that are not worked on as intensely right now, which would be the three I mentioned. Higher level learning objectives. 3 or 4 years ago, people were thinking we don't need adaptive or simulated labs or experiential things because people still wanted to do this in the wet labs. We've just launched this new generation of platforms for labs that are completely going through the roof in terms of market acceptance, and that shows me things are changing faster than we think.
Yeah. Why do you think it's speeding up so fast? Talking about this whole, as you tend to call it, interactive learning online, actually. Do you think it's because the technology now is ready? Is it because of the importance of data and really analyzing big data, going granular there? Is it the whole ecosystem is ready now, or what are the sort of key factors in your opinion?
I just this morning opened up one of the latest issues of one of the big educational journals of the U.S. There was an illustration showing that all of this started back in 2009, which is actually 8, but it was 2009 they said when MacGraw-Hill made LearnSmart initially. Mm-hmm. So why didn't it happen faster than that? Because it's true that there was not a lot of this going on 3 or 4 years ago. I honestly think it's because of the market dynamics in publishing. Mm. So the big financial dynamics right now means that it costs a fortune to develop content and maintain content, and this industry will not survive unless it reinvents itself. So we have these breakthroughs. We knew technically how to solve this. We've known this for some years, but the market has not been willing to change the scene. First, a big publisher like MacGraw-Hill was behind it, which is one of the reasons why we decided recently to sell a small piece of the company to them to tighten up the matter to them more. As importantly as the technology is that they are willing to drive this, they are willing to commit to this, to actually change the way they do things and not just live by the next generation of their textbooks or the next revision of their textbooks.
Yeah, I think that the traditional publishers obviously go through a transition phase, and they are definitely seeing that they need to be ready and innovative to be set up in a good way for the future. However, there's, of course, what you mentioned, the whole implications of sales cycles and, many more things lie or related to traditional publishing. As you...
But not only that, if I may say, not only that, it's also extremely important that the schools are under more financial pressure. Because it's not just a question of the publishers having to reinvent the product they're delivering. It's also the market that is changing, that the schools are now asking for higher retention rates. They're asking for lower cost of delivery. They're asking for less pressure when they want to expand the educational system, so less pressure on the faculty. These different kinds of things that you can actually deliver if you know more about the individual student. So it's not only that the retail system for textbook is changing with rentals and stuff. It's also that the customers are changing their requests and demands to the industry. Because I don't think it's related to suddenly having tablets or technical devices, because we've known for years how to solve this problem.
Absolutely.
I think it's the other aspects that are important.
Yeah, I'd agree. You said 2008, 2009 was the time MacGraw-Hill really started, let's say, intensively looking into adaptive solutions, and I think rightfully so we can call Area9 as the builder or the brain behind the LearnSmart product. How long has it really taken you to, based on your previous experiences, I think you referred to your 20-year or so career, how long has it taken to develop the product really catering to the needs of the MacGraw-Hill company?
I think that it's interesting that this is a classic spin-off. You asked earlier, when we decided to make a startup, we didn't really decide that. We got frustrated by not being able to fix another problem, and then we realized that almost by chance, we had found a solution to a very fundamental problem. If it reminds me of a famous Picasso story when somebody complained because this Picasso actually got money for his paintings early when he was still alive, right? And somebody said, "So, Pablo, why does it have to be so expensive? It only took you like half an hour to do." And he said, no, my friend. I'm maybe misquoting it a little bit, but he said, no, it took me 50 years and 30 minutes. So it's very much a question of all the things we've learned about how to analyze and describe knowledge. These are breakthroughs that by nature are similar to what we've been doing for many years. They're very, very different, but conceptually, they really have the trademark that we do things differently. We come from analyzing how people perform in simulated environments. There are many similarities to the solutions we're making now that works in sociology or history or psychology, because it's not as difficult to do it in math as it is to do it in English or sociology.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely. So my next question would actually cover a little bit how you, as the expert, sees the future. I would definitely agree with you that maybe the most innovative solutions or progressive ones are centered around the field of math, a little bit science in general. How realistic is it, you think, that we are going to see in some 2 or 3 years' time something in the field of English, language arts, and so on that includes more those factors or features of adaptive learning?
What is interesting is that we actually, one of the first 10 products we made were in psychology, and another one was in soft areas like English. So one of the first ones we've done of a new generation is actually in English. So we are developing these soft sciences, or these soft subjects. So it's totally realistic. We have them working in the market. The most advanced adaptive product we have on the market is actually in developmental reading and writing. So you can definitely do that. So taking it even further into simulated environments in history or in sociology, just give us another 12, 18 months and we're able to crown it with that. Because what's interesting about it, and compared to where we were 20 years ago, we had, every time we went into a simulation, we had to find a way where that simulation was applicable no matter how you came into it. Now we can efficiently level them before we take them into the applied environments, which makes it a ton easier to build these at an affordable cost.
Very interesting. And for you personally, is this one of the most exciting points to really get to mass adoption at affordable cost, or is it sort of the scenarios of where is it all going, or where you imagine it's all going?
That's interesting, because we've been completely with a total lack of humbleness here. We've been completely ruling like the top echelon and the space rockets in simulation, in computer simulation and debriefing for years. So we've kind of gotten numb to being at the forefront. I actually think it's much more interesting to find a way to have the mass impact to actually change the world. And so last semester, a quick estimate would be that more than 100,000 students passed their college courses compared to if they hadn't used LearnSmart. That's an impact that I'm proud about. So it's more the visionary thing about how to make the big system impact that fascinates me. Then we actually know how to do the top tier products and the top tier technologies, but it's also very easy to end up there as a misunderstood genius for the rest of your life. If you don't make an impact, it's like it's peak performance multiplied by impact, or multiplied by application that gives you the impact, right? So I actually think it's the broad application. That's also why we prioritize to bring costs down so that it could get affordable for everybody. That we've been able to build factories or pipelines where we're making hundreds of these a year now. So I actually think that it's back to where we were in the late 90s, where we changed simulation by something we call pragmatic simulation, by finding out the most cost-effective way to bring simulation to everybody. I think it's the same thing we're trying to do here, is you could call it a pragmatic approach to don't overspend. Make sure you do it in a way where the students who need this can actually afford it. It's very easy to develop bells and whistles that the students can't afford.
Absolutely, yeah. So to
and if I may tell a short story about this. If you look at flight simulators, there is no objective impact of the hydraulic systems that cost maybe 70-80% of them. They were made because people perceive them as being necessary, which is why a flight simulator may cost $100 million, where you may actually be able to get most of the impact at a fraction of that price. So that's where we came from originally, learning about these stories where just because of tradition, you have to pay 10, 20 times more than you absolutely had to learn how to handle an engine failure.
Very interesting. So, to see really the implications. So, to sort of slowly wrap this up, why, so our audience, for somebody in faculty, deans, in sort of a short statement, why would you say they should definitely look into these interactive learning and personalized learning experiences online? And can you sort of put a number on the cost per student?
Let me first say that I don't think you can say broadly that just because it's delivered by technology, somebody should do this. They should do it if the construct validity is high, if the face validity is high, and if somebody can give them early data that it works. Because it's quite far away before we have completely convincing data with double-blinded studies like we would ask for in medicine. But we have pretty solid indications so far that there is an impact on students' performance. So that's the first thing. Look for impact on students' performance. Look for a construct validity. In other words, that it makes sense that if you give instructors better insight into where their students are, they will be able to perform better. They will be able to direct their teaching and focus their teaching more. They should look at the construct validity of, does it make sense, or does it sound logical that if you take care of a lot of the teaching in adaptive environment, then the teachers can focus their face-to-face time on the things that are harder to get a computer to teach. So if they look at the different subcomponents and they each make sense, then they should go in this direction. And ultimately they should do it because it benefits the students and it makes their teachers more efficient. Then they may ask quickly, does that mean that I can get rid of my teachers and my faculty? And the answer is absolutely no. Did we get rid of doctors and nurses in hospitals just because we get MRI scanners and we got better blood test labs? Not at all. No. We're just able to treat the patients to a higher level, to a higher standard. We have more need for doctors than ever. So we have to marry these two worlds. We have to see the positive aspects, and we may actually be able to bring education to a higher level by providing both students and their teachers better transparency to where they are and where they should be going.
Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing some of your insights and experiences throughout your career. And of course, congratulations to the state MacGraw-Hill board in your company. And I think you're on a very good path on really making an impact on education.
Thanks very much.